This video is on what if Naruto was neglected by his family and left the village part 3. The like goal for this what if is 42 likes. Sooner like goal is meets sooner I will upload the next part for this what if. If you enjoy this what if, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Disclaimer, I don't own Naruto nor this fanfic. Chunin exam. It is conducted in Konoha this year, isn't it? Kachan Naruto questioned his surrogate mother, who smiled at him. Yes, Sochi, I want you to show our power to the world that despite the civil war, we are still one of the 5 great hidden village. We have 4 months to prepare, so be ready. I will Kachan. Do you have any idea about who will join my little team? My team currently short on 1 member. Suigetsu listened to the conversation very carefully. Being a dense man as he was, he couldn't help but wondered why he was here in this room. Technically, he wasn't supposed to hear this conversation, right? So, he interrupted them. I'm a broken bar, guys. I am happy that you were excited, but what about me? Mai twitched her eyes slightly before she went deep in thought before suddenly blurted out a laugh in embarrassment. Oops. My bad, thank for reminding me that. Suigetsu, you will be instated as a genin. The silence graced the room for a while before Suigetsu suddenly shouted aloud, what? Me genin? Everyone winced at the volume of his voice. They couldn't believe that he would be this loud. Suigetsu suddenly calmed himself down and muttered out, apology gomenasai, Mizukage-sama, for my initial outburst, but seriously, a broken bar. Suigetsu, this is Kachan you are taking to. If she got angry, then I might not be able to save you. Naruto berated him. It was more likely a friendly advice than that of the scold. A broken bar. Mai continued. Suigetsu, you will be put in a set of 3-man team with Naruto Sochi as your sensei. The rest of the members, you will meet them in time. Since, technically you never graduated from academy but have more than enough skill and experience to be one, so I will let it slide for this time. You can dismiss now. You need to rest. Suigetsu gave a grateful bow before dismissed with a normal shunshin, body flicker. Can't let the council interfere, isn't it, Kachan? Naruto said with a smirk. She gave out a grin. That is right, Sochi, you know how annoying it is that the council try to set you up with their daughters, nieces. Those damn annoying geezers. Naruto and Yugito chuckled at the jab. They knew how annoying that those council members could be. All they did were complain, but they couldn't do anything about it. Ever since Naruto became a powerful and famous shinobi in his home village, all they tried to do was to set up a marriage contracts with him. Even though Yugito and other girls are already engaged to him, but it seemed to not working at all. It took Yagura and Naruto to stop the overly protective mother and her unofficially daughter-in-law from incarnating them on spot when they tried to push Naruto into CRA with their daughters, nieces whom Naruto absolutely had no interest in but politely declined. After the report of the mission is over, Yugito left against her own will as she needed to return to Kumo to report to her Raikage, but not before gave him a quick kiss, which he returned it with passion. They broke the kiss as Yugito departed and excused herself, but before winking at him, in which he returned it. Naruto also thought of something and said, see you later then, Kachan. I will go to Shizo places. I will return for a dinner. Mai nodded in acceptance. Naruto and Yagura gave a quick bow and left the room via the door. Yagura and Naruto walked to Yagura's compound. On their way they saw several villagers whom smiled at the teacher, apprentice duo. They smiled back at the people around them but said nothing. After a few moments of silence, Yagura started the conversation. It is beautiful, isn't it? Naruto replied in enthusiasm. Hi, Shizo. I can't help but wonder that this village was once referred to as the Bloody Mist. It is all thanks to you, replied Yagura in an equally cheerful tone. You are truly something else, Naruto. It seemed that my decision is right for once after all. At that fateful day, a smile grazed Naruto's face as he was in thought loudly. Hi, it was the day that you found me. That fateful day, a broken bar. Flashback. 7 years ago, Naruto aged 7 years old at the time. We should get going soon, Mizukage-sama said, one of the 5 Jounin level Kiri shinobi. They currently sat around a campfire along with a familiar young man with pink pupilless eyes and what seemed to be a stitch-like scar running from under his left eye. He had his staff-like pole weapon with uneven-sized hooks with a green flower on the larger end laid beside him. His name was Yagura, the yondaime Mizukage. It was a very dark night, so they decided to build the camp here. They were a few meters away from the water stream. We are in no hurry. Besides, she told me that something interesting is going to happen. Although I have absolutely no idea what is she talking about, Yagura spoke calmly. But no, we will stay here for tonight. Besides, it is not wise to travel at night, isn't it? Especially in the forest that those Konoha elite are so specialized in. The rest of Kirishinabai agreed at his logic, so they sat down in silence. The only voices they heard were the wind and the crooking insect. Suddenly the bush around them vibrated violently, alerted them. One Kirijounen silently waved some hand seals as he spit a water steam from his mouth to extinguish the fire, effectively shut off the only sources of light from the already dark field, with the exception of the moonlight, of course. They suddenly disappeared from their previous location into the forest behind their respective position. Their hand already grabbed their respective weapons, waiting for the currently unknown foe to reveal itself. A red blur suddenly crashed into the middle of the camp. It was a child, no more than 7 years old. He was in pain, as evidence from the bruise all over his body. He couldn't get up, as judged from the state that he was in. What happened next made Yagura's blood boil. A group of 7 men with standard Konoha flak jacket and headband. They hovered over the downed red-haired boy as they drew out their sword and wooden club, ignoring the menacing looks on the boy's face. Well, what do we have here? Demon's brother, said one of the men menacingly. Another man rubbed his wooden club in anticipation. Let's beat him up, boys, so we can send a message to that demon bitch. It is a shame that we can't do a thing to her. She would be fun to break. Oh well, I guess we will settle on her lovely brother instead. At the end of their speech, they raised their respective weapons up high over their head. Prepare to beat him. The crazed look in their face, the boy closed his eyes in acceptance. So, this is how I am going to die. I am so sorry, everyone. My dear Imuto-chan, thought the boy in sadness. Yagura decided to intervene despite his guard's protest not to. He pointed his fingers in gun-like manner toward the men as he shouted with anger. Suiton, Suidana, water. Release, water-severing wave. Suddenly a water droplets condensed over his finger, and instantly the high-pressure jet of water was fired from his fingers and easily pierced the heart of one of the Konohanins. Sensing their comrade's death, they jumped out all over the place in an attempt to dodge, but Yagura didn't want to take any chance. With couples of extremely copyright-sliced shots, all but one Konoha shinobi were neutralized. The last shinobi was currently in pain as he currently laid on the ground, gasped his badly bleeding stomach as he roared in pain, which ironically just like the boy he was about to beat him to the death. The red-haired boy slowly opened his eyes in disbelief. He thought that the bastard Konohanin were about to kill him to get back at his beloved sister who held Kyubai's soul. He felt a warm hand grabbed his shoulder. He saw a young man, with a head of messy, light gray hair, pink pupilless eyes and what seemed to be a stitch-like scar running from under his left eye, who currently on his knee beside him. What was captivated him about the man was that he looked at him with a genuine smile, a look of understanding that he always yearned for. The man then suddenly stood up and walked slowly toward the downed Konohanin. He seemed to be cowered in fear as he realized who the man was. Yagura took out his trusty staff and held them in the execution stance as he spoke in the chilled tone which completely contrasted his kind expression before. Of all horrible things that I saw in the world, I never expect the Konohanin to willingly and enjoy harming the innocent child. I shouldn't be surprised actually, for the shinobis from the village that massacred many of my brethren to do thing like this. The Konohanin was in fear, so he tried to plead for his life, please spare me, but Yagura seemed to heard none of it. No, Konohanin, eyes widen at that. You hear that? A scum like you should just die. The world will be grateful. Konohanin then spit his blood, saliva at Yagura's feet as he came closer. Why do you protect that demon lover? It is our job to punish anyone who protect and support the enemy. A broken bar. Yagura slammed the sharp end of his hook staff at the downed man's stomach in fury. He did it for a few times before stopped. Leave the man to gain his lost breath for doing what you did to this child. You will die. Konoha only glared at him with every courage and hatred he could muster. You won't get away with this. Do you realize who I am? Which village I come from? Once the councils know of this, they will burn your backwater village into the ground, sinking into the sea where the worm likes you. Bullen. Yagura punched him again, only this time at his chest very hard. He channeled his chakra into his staff. It glowed brighter and brighter blue color as he spoke hardly. Let them come. They will soon learn to fear me. Konoha has changed from the vision of Shodiame and Nidiame Hokage. They stand no chance against us. They will know the wrath of me. Sanbi no Yagura. He finished his speech by slashed the throat of the shinobi with his staff with a lightning speed, killing him. He snorted in disgust before turned to his guards, whom decided to make appearance after he killed the man. He ordered them in commanding tone, what are you doing? Dispose the body. They did so as commanded. If there is no body part, then no evidence will be pointing at us. My visit to Kumo and Iwagakure is top secret anyways. He flashed to the frightened and awestruck child. He smiled as he was on his knee and ruffled his hair. I will take him back to his home. Are you sure this is wise, Mizukage-sama? Asked the jounin in slightly frightened tone. He was afraid that Yagura was going to kill him. His train of thought stopped as he saw Yagura stopped, ruffled the boy's hair and was glaring at him, the graze that piece his very soul. Shit. Mizukage-sama is so scary. I can't blame him though. Consider how harsh his life was during that bastard Sandaime rule. He composed himself and said in respectful tone, I mean, we don't even know who he is. He might be a spy sent to kill you. Yagura said nothing as he grazed the boy's eyes again before smile. Fear not, my fellow Kiri shinobi. He is no harm. While he continued to look into his eyes, looking for any kind of deception, which he found none. The boy thought warm. He understands who I am and accept it. I wonder what he will do with me. I am just the annoying children of the so-called great Yondaime Hokage, while he is the Mizukage. He thought sadly. His mood was sour when he thought of his father. Yagura sighed slightly before looked face to face with the boy. Youngling, since you see all this, can you promise me that you will never speak of this to your parent? Where is your home? The boy nodded as saw no harm of lying to the man who saved his life, so he spoke in stuttered tone. Ka broken bar. Konoha ma broken bar. Mizukage-sama. His mood dropped as he was in silence again. I am never wanted at home. My parents ignore me for the sake of my siblings who hold great power within them. The villagers spoiled them silly and they were happy while broken bar I was alone. My siblings always got anything they want, be the toys, foods, clothing, present and training, while I got almost none of it from my parents and their friends. Yagura felt no deception in that, so he decided to ask some more. Who are your parents then, child? Why are you here alone? Why those bad people beat you? The boy looked down in sadness. My parents always locked me out at night unintentionally. My sister held Kibai's soul while my younger brother held the chakra, so they got all attention away. Those people are not the first to hurt me. There are plenty more in the past. They always got away with everything. Yagura seethed at this. My parents. Yagura winced at the contempt of the word parents, but he said nothing. Is Minato Namikaze, Yondaime Hokage and Kushina Uzumaki, the Red Death. The whole group had the visible shock on their face at the revelation. Yagura was well surprised but hid it very well. They are the worst. They never noticed me in anything, all my accomplishment. To be honest, I hate almost everyone in my family except my sister, since in the family she is the only one who give a damn about me. He paused to hold his breath. He continued as more and more anguish emotion seemed to bottle up as time passed by. But because of my good relationship with my sister, I got beaten in place of her. They thought that if they hurt me then she will broke. Consider her relationship with me. He seethed in anger. Worst of all, my parents seem to be so ignorant about it. They always brush me aside when I asked for their help. They never tried to help me, even the evidence is so obvious what the villagers did to me. Broken bar. They even have the nerve to denounce me as the heir to both clans. They said I am unworthy of it despite never know what I am capable of. Tonight I got locked out again and this is what happened, Sir. Broken bar. He started to cry again with another Kiri Shinobi kneeled beside him and attempted to soothe him by rubbing his shoulder in comforting manner. Yagura was furious. Minato Nimikaze, Kushina Uzumaki or whoever they were. They didn't have the right to leave their children out alone like that. However, he calmed himself down and steeled his resolve. I see. Even though I bring him back to Konoha, it will not change anything for this boy. He glanced at the boy and thought maybe I will use this. He closed his eyes before opening them again. This time instead of the pink pupilless eyes as it used to be, it became slightly darker. The pupil of his eyes glowed sapphire blue-like colors with white-colored wave stigma, like in Japanese's drawing, appeared in both pupil. Okay, I know that it is hard to imagine, but please bear with me. He looked into Naruto's eyes that widened with odd from great impression with his eyes. Relax, young one, I meant no harm. What is your name? He asked softly. Naruto replied with awe evidence on his face as he took a glance at Yagura's eyes. Naruto Namio Broken bar Uzumaki. Mizukage-sama. Suddenly Yagura felt the pull that affected his very being. Before he knew it, he was in the castle room, which he assumed that it was the boy's mind. He kept on going and going, in process opened several doors. Couples of minutes later, he finally opened the last door to the next room. It was so big and there were numerous floating shards of images in it. In this room, there was neither floor nor ceiling visible, just the bright blue sphere laid at the center of it. He floated around looking for a clue. He saw and heard set of memories, mind, thought, and finally he reached the center of the boy's mind. He could saw collective memories hovered around a single large bright spot. He glanced at the center of the bright spot and saw an exact replica of the boy but with adult body with his eyes closed, floating in that bright sphere. He came up with the realization. So, that is his true self. He looked at the eye-closed child encased in light. Let's see his resolve. He laid his palm on the surface of the bright sphere and mentally shouted. K, release. At the end of his word, the sphere glowed brighter and brighter. It started to crack bit by bit. He looked worriedly. Okami. So this is it. His will is not strong enough. I shouldn't be too rushing at this. After all, he is just a child. What happened next shocked him. Instead of continuing to broke, the crack started to heal itself as it glowed brighter and brighter to the point that Yagura had to shield his eye with his arm in order to block such a blinding yet very beautiful light. Behold my Kekkai Genkai Tenkyo Kogen, 1, granted by me being the container of Sanbi. Unlike Sharingan, it doesn't hypnotize other people's mind to control it, rather it allowed me to see it clearly. Be the person's resolves, memory or emotion, no matter how well suppressed, I can see them all. This ability is similar to Yamanaka clan's Shintenshin no Jutsu, mind-switching technique, but with some key differences. He smiled as he saw the sphere gotten brighter and brighter to think that he is able to overcome the risk of mind awakening aspect of this sacred jutsu. Broken bar. He will go so far. He looked forward with a smile as the light died down and revealed a full-grown red-haired man with his eyes closed. Yagura then suddenly felt the pull as he felt the wind breeze against his body. Now he realized that he exited the mindscape. He looked at the boy before him and smiled before said. Now a broken bar youngling. Naruto suddenly gave him full attention. I will give you a proposal. 1. You will return to Konoha and never speak of this to anyone. Naruto looked down at this. Or 2. Naruto perked up in anticipation. You come with us to Kirigakure. This caused a mixed reaction to build up within Kirijounen/Anbu. Even though they respected their Kage's decision and they felt that they can trust the boy, they still wonder what to do. To take other Kage's children away from their village was a huge treason, enough to potentially cause another great Shinobi war in which they absolutely have no intention to be the cause of it. Naruto on the other hand, heavily considered the second option, but on the other hand he felt bad as he would leave his sister heartbroken, but it need to be done. As much as he hated to admit, his family was capable of protecting her. He need to send her a message somehow though. One of the Kirinin was quick to voice his opinion. Mizukage-sama, it is not that we don't trust you or this child or anything. He suddenly felt the glare from everyone present. Except for Naruto, who does not know what to do, but he ignored it. How are we supposed to do it? Even if we successfully take him to our village, his physical attribute will cause the widespread of doubt and rumors. That alone can spark the war between Kirigakura and those tree hugger. While I am very proud about our village's military strength, 7 swordmen of the mist, he thought of Kisame and Maingetsu Albelt bitterly at the former and smirk at the latter, as well as yours and Utakata-sama, but it may be to demerit. Unless we somehow keep his existence a secret or change his physical form, I doubt that he will last very far in this world. Yagura put his hand under his chin and thought. He had to admit that his subordinates claimed it have a point. He was deep in thought for a while until his eyes slightly widened from realization. He remembered his best friend from his childhood, Mitarumi, who was also the supposed heiress of the clan. He once heard from her that she always wanted to have children but never found any man she could end up with. She even said to him that she considered to adopt some children, but her status as an heiress stopped her from doing so. She needed an heiress to inherit the clan, so, to find someone to be able to replace her in case she died was not an easy feat. He took a quick glance at Naruto. He remembered that Terumi clan is the cousin of Uzumaki. Yeah, they are in this story, from his grandfather. He gave a grin to Naruto, who was completely lost along with his own subordinates who were in the same boat as the boy. You have a point, but I happen to know the solution for this little problem. I have to admit that this one might be a bit risky, but if success then Kiri will surely become one of the best in the entire elemental nations. Mizukage-sama, I don't understand, one of the masked members said in confusion. I will take him and his subordinate sculpt, but as you said, I will keep his existence a top secret. His existence will not be revealed until he is ready to take on the world by himself. But what about that, Mizukage-sama? Shouldn't the councils be informed about this? The Shinobi force may kill him if he ever set foot in our village for their completely valid reasons, another asked him wearily. Yagura kept calm for the whole thing, although inside he was jumping with joy. As his subordinates somewhat on his side, it was way much easier to do what he intended to. Well, he reached the point of no return this time. Whenever he met someone with similar background as he was, he will help them with the best of him abilities. That was how he became the Mizukage in the first place. When the Sandai Mizukage's power hungry and cruelty became increasingly obvious even to the citizens. He can gain allied even from most unlikely sources, probably because his childhood hell somehow changed him into a better person, even more so than some of the priests. That is easy. You don't have to be worried about this, Mizu Mist. I can just claim that I picked him up and he is to be my personal apprentices. Naruto's eyes widen at this. For his Shinobi's status, I will handle it. You remember my chance, seeing that his subordinates nod, he continued. She always wanted to have a child of her own, even though she never have a man in her life. He had a snickers but choose to ignore it. I bet she will be thrilled about adopting this youngling here. As Naruto is half Uzumaki, we can just claim that he is her long-lost cousin she adopted as her son or whatsoever. He will be granted a clan status, but his acceptance from the village will have to be earned by his own share of work, with my full support, of course. Yagura turned to Naruto as with most of his subordinates. He offered Naruto a hand as his subordinates watched with anticipation. Now, child, will you accept our proposal? Naruto makes up his mind before straightened up. Forgive me, my dearest Hamuto-chan. It has to be done. I will come back to you someday. He smiled as he grabbed his hand. I accept. Mizukage-sama. Yagura helped him stand before addressing him. No need for formality, you will not need to address me as Mizukage except when we are in the important event. Seeing him nod, Yagura was about to motion him to follow, but Naruto's next word stopped him. Ano, what should I call you then? I don't even know your name, but you know mine already, Naruto asked innocently, just like a curious child as he was. One of the shinobi presented was about to answer, but Yagura's glance silenced him. Yagura smiled as he said, "You may call me Yagura Shizo, Master." Flashback. And they arrived at the compound. It was quite large, about the size of the Uchiha clan, though much more lively as there were lots of trees and a series of streams that passed through the compound. Just like the Heaven Garden, search for Japanese garden in Google if you are lost. Naruto stopped by and looked around. This compound is the still same. Though he frowned slightly, it is too empty. It is not a surprise. Naruto turned to the approaching Yagura. When you are gone for 3 weeks, most if not all of my clanmen has been assigned a mission in several countries. They should be back by tomorrow. Naruto was about to reply but interrupted by a charming voice, Locust Klein's voice from Gundam Seed and its sequel. "You are back. Both of you, I am so glad." Both of them turned their head to meet the sight of a very beautiful young girl with dark blue hair and reddish eyes. "Look at my profile under the name Aizen, you will get her." Image: I am horrible at describing people. She smiled warmly at the bear. Hiding behind her legs were a pair of children, boy and girl. They hide themselves behind their mother, only put their head out to see the people in front of them. They were of the same age of 3 years old, so they were twins. Even if they were twins, they looked very different from each others. The boy was the exact replica of Yagura but with his mother's eyes, while his sister was her mother's but with Yagura's eyes. Naruto was the first to say the greeting. "Aizen-on-chan, I hope that they don't trouble you too much." "No, they are perfect. My 2 little angels." She turned to her children with a smile, causing them to smile in response. Memory. Naruto glanced at the boy with a smile. "Shizuru, you are a good boy and girl for you mother, right?" Yagura greeted them with a smile of his own. Faster than lightning, the said pair launched themselves toward the 2 grown men with a bear hug. Due to their small size, they can only embrace the legs of the 2 men. The mini Yagura was currently hugging Naruto while Shizuru embraced her father. The older man ruffled the head of the children, makes them purr and content. "Don't get any pervert idea here. It is just affectionate touch." Aizen smiled at the sight before coughing to gain the attention of the figures. The children reluctantly separated with a visible pout on their face, which most find to be very cute. She then invited them into the compound, in which they soon followed. Naruto stayed for a while. They also got a visit from Utakata and his pregnant wife. "Look at the name Shirino, then you will get her picture, as well as Hotaru, who was his apprentices." Yagura and Utakata greeted each other before taking about random thing, as with Aizen, who talked with Shirino, who gave her advice regarding the baby. Naruto simply stared to the empty space, enjoying silence and nature scenery of the garden in front of him. After a while, a couple of koi fish jumped up into the air on the surface before returned down to the lotus-filled lake. He smiled at the sight but later frowned as the fish's inability to sever its tie to water reminded him that he need to return to Konoha once again. Even though there were lots of good memories there, those so-called blood families of his, except for Kasumi, the shinobi forces and the villagers, will surely cause him trouble. He tried and failed to calm himself down as his chakra started to rise up slightly before being forced down as he realized what he was about to do in front of the children and people he cherished. He came up with sudden realization and contemplate, what will he do in 5 months from now? It would surely a very interesting trips and eye-opening for those blasted Konohanen. Yagura noticed that his apprentice started to spacing out, so he decided to include him in the conversation. Everyone except for the children seemed to notice the change in mood. Hence, they stood up and made their way toward him. Yagura was the first to approach him, verbally thinking about you family. Naruto? Not so much Shizo, just ponder about their ability, that all? He answered instantly, causing everyone to perk in interest. It wasn't the secret that Naruto had genuine interest regarding the jutsu and special abilities, perhaps the traits from his Uzumaki lineages of being curious and creative at the same time. Yagura was confused. Why? You are powerful, Naruto. You don't need to worry about that. Naruto merely stared to the empty space again before change his glance to the group engaging in the conversation. It is not that Yagura Shizo. It is just that I wonder how Kushina will react when I told her that she wasn't the true heiress of Uzumaki clan. Neither are her children. Even my dear sister Izum looked at Yagura in confusion before nudging him, causing him to voice his question. For her the true heiress of the Uzumaki clan? Sure, I know she was powerful, but why isn't she? Well, I can't say much about this because I really don't know much about your clan. Let's talk about it, shall we? I already told you almost everything about my clan. It is only fair that you tell me about yours since you have met them. I want to hear it too. Shirino spoke softly. She glanced at her husband, who smiled at her as they turned to Naruto. Story please, Naruto Oji-san, the twins shouted in anticipation. Although they absolutely have no idea what is going on, but they enjoyed listening to a story. Hi, let's have a seat, shall we? Everyone sat down on the wooden floor, or for the twins in their mother's lap, as Naruto began his tale. The Uzumaki clan, A tilde A tilde S A tilde 3/4 A tilde A diaresis Sedilla Ash, Uzumaki Akatsuki, was a prominent clan in Ushigakure. They were distant blood relatives of the Senju clan, and as such, both were on good terms, an alliance that extended onto their hidden villages Akanahagakure and Ushigakure. The shinobi of Konoha integrated Ushigakures symbol onto their uniforms and flak jackets, as well as on the shoulders of their uniforms, as a sign of friendship and goodwill between the two villages, and continued to do so to this day, in memory of their so-called friendship even years after Ushigakure's fake destruction. Yagura raised his eyebrows a little. Fake destruction? Oh well. Naruto gritted his teeth at this. The so-called alliance with Konoha is nothing but a fraud. Well, at least during the Sandame's rule. I don't blame Sandame Hokage though, because he wasn't at fault here. He tried to run his village and help us as much as he could. It is actually the two advisors, almost all other clan of Konoha at the times, and Danzo that sold our secret to Iwa, Kari, Kumo, and several minor villages that attacked our island. Yagura and Utakata looked down. I see a broken bar. Our village is also at fault too. Naruto noticed the drop in mood, so he quickly reassured them. Rest assured, Shizo, Utakata, your clan is our long-time alliance, although very few actually knew about that. Fortunately for us, Kyoga-sama, too, anticipated this, so he informs Mito-sama and contact Kauten-sama, 3, your clan leader at the time. Thanks to our alliance and planning, we were able to escape the Ushio before its system trap, which basically massacred everyone that entered the island. We tried to contact Kushina in Konoha, but it seemed that Danzo disposed of our messenger birds, and Konoha seemed to turn blind eye to our plea for help. So, we went into hiding. The rest is history. Naruto paused for a while to calm himself down a bit before continued. Members of our clan were very knowledgeable in the art of fighting jutsu, and were both respected and feared worldwide because of their prodigious skill, though noted to be crude in their methods. This, however, eventually led to the attack on Ushigakure and the rest of the land of whirlpools during the era of Shinobi World Wars, as other nations had begun to see the village as too great a threat to go unchecked. Most of them are hidden in our land, as we know, thanks to the help of Shiomitsu clan and some of our allies. The rest who left even before then were scattered all around the world, with some of them such as Mito and later Kushina having settled in Konoha. Along with their ties, structures were built both in and around the village, such as the Uzumaki clan's mask storage temple. Throughout most of my mission as per Kachan, Turimi clan and your request, we managed to locate our long-lost kin, namely Karen, Teyuya, Shira and Usama, etc. My most recent discovery, however, lead me to meet with them. The strongest group among Uzumaki clan, where most survivors belong to Ten no Go Hashira. He contemplated slightly before being motioned to continue, as he looked at the curious eyes of the children, which urged him to say more. The Senju and Uzumaki clans are distant blood relatives whom they retain strong connections with. For this reason Konoha uniforms have the symbol of Uzumaki emblazoned on its shoulders. Hashirama's wife would also come from this clan, further strengthening their ties. The members of the Uzumaki clan possessed an incredibly strong life force which can both endure and survive most grievous injuries plus incredible longevity. The clan members are also blessed with great recuperative powers, able to quickly recover from extreme exhaustion and mend most injuries in short periods of time. As seen with Karen, she can further enhance her healing powers and even temporarily transfer it to another by letting a person bite her and feed others some of her chakra. Their longevity can be seen in part through Mito, who lived from long before the founding of Konoha, to well into the term of the third Hokage's reign. The clan's life force was the reason Kushina survived the extraction of her tailed beast, despite additionally just giving birth only moments before, though she was left severely weakened. Many Uzumaki members possess a strong and special form of chakra, allowing them manifest chakra chains from their body which they can manipulate to their will in battle. Karen-chan, Kushina, Kasumi-chan and myself can use those chains. Chakra chain and Fuinjutsu are one of my clan's specialties or once were. Were? Everyone present thought aloud except for Yagura and Utakata. Yes, actually there is more than it seemed. You know what I mean, right? Naruto ice pupil turned darker shade and the whirlpool-like stigma appeared it with the same shade color. Uzugan Yagura said in normalish tone implied that he already knew about it but his slight ha appearance meaning that it was indeed a rare sight. Yes, according to Sawada-sama, one of the very few Uzumaki who possess this magnificent jutsu. Uzugan is one of the 5 great jutsu in the world which composed of Sharingan, Byakugan, Uzugan, Tenkyo Kogen which is your Kekkai Genkai and Rinnegan respectively. It granted the users the mastery over certain elements, therefore 5 variation, enhanced Fuinjutsu, allowed the creation of various sub-elements with full mastery, usage of Senjutsu and chakra materialization which is just a part of it. Kushina Uzumaki and my sister Kasumi are able to use chakra chain as a part of our chakra materialization bloodline but it is incomplete. Why it is then, Naruto-san? Hotaru asked in soft tone. Chakra materialization or widely known as chakra chain is created with Baijiu suppression in mind so, the other than that it is not quite practical. Our ancestors had found a way to bypass that limit and finally they found a way to do the same thing with other forms. It soon became a requirement that in order for those to become the heiress of the Uzumaki clan, not only that he or she had to be very powerful in their own right and other aspect of shinobi art, they must create their own weapon. Since there was a problem of you know what in the past, Kushina is not able to take the trial and rather take the easy way to become a heiress in her own ways. It is okay considered her current skill and situation but I along with Shira and Usama will evoke Minma's heir status as soon as we get to Konoha and reveal the close guarded secret. They will have no choice but to obey our demand. Or we will threaten to release that and they will literally die. Can you show it please? The children and Hotaru started to use one of the most effective jutsu against him, the jutsu that can make him one of the most powerful shinobi of. Garigakure gave up. The terrified puppy-eyed dog no jutsu, alright, watch carefully. He stood up and flashed to the garden. He drew out his hand as a pure white katana materialized in front of him. He then summoned a medium-sized rock, threw it up high and unsheathed the elegant blade. It all happened in the instant, the rock was splitted into half. Chakra weapons are much more powerful than conventionally crafted ones. Uzumaki clan shinobi with mastery over this bloodline will create a weapon with far more physical, metallic appearance as with mine. It can be used in conjunction with our nen, Fuinjutsu quite easily. We can also forge a weapon of choice in conjunction with our bloodline, which are one of the reasons why the Uzumaki weapons are far more superior than the normal one. The katana then suddenly shattered like a glass, released a series of glittering particles that in turn amused the young children, especially Mamoru, who looked at him with a star in his eyes. Naruto looked at the sky before said in very calm tone. I will send my team to participate in the Chunin exam in Konoha this year. It will be fun. I have already informed Tennogo Hashira about this development and they already approved about it. He is coming along as an observer along with me. The rest of Shiamatsu clan will be informed tomorrow. Everyone nodded in understanding. Shirino and Aizen excused themselves before nudging Utakata to come along. Utakata then came along, or rather pull along with them out of the room along with the children in order to make some sweets. That leaves only Yagura, Naruto and Hotaru in this room, so they decided internally that they will go after them. Before everyone could do so, Yagura calmly asked Naruto, who still has his eyes locked on the somewhat cloudy sky. Naruto, you completed that jutsu, aren't you? Everyone stopped what they were doing and glanced at the person in question as Yagura anticipated for the answer. All he got was a silence, but the smile on his face already gave away the answer. Naruto turned toward him, a smile never left his face as he closed his eyes and opened them again. This time, instead of the light blue colored as it used to be, it became slightly darker. The pupil of his eyes glowed sapphire blue light colors with white colored wave stigma, like in Japanese's drawing, appeared in both pupil. Yagura, Shirino and Aizen only smiled in return. The Chunin exam this year was going to be very interesting. The children including Hotaru can only awed at the beauty of those eyes, Hotaru especially, as she was able to grab much of the information from the stories from one of her idols. The pair of eyes that symbolize the wave that might bring the fertile soil to the land, but it also be the embodiment of chaos that destroyed everything on its path. She wondered what will happen to the world now. The proud son of the swirling tide will rise once more. I take my earlier words back. Some of my Uzumaki will have significant impact on the story. But one thing to be sure, they will never ever actually reconsider the alliance with Konoha due to what Konoha as the whole does to them during their hard times. The one who stood by their side will be supported and those who are not will be left behind without a care. I don't own anything in this story except maybe the plot and Kekkai Genkai. They belong to their rightful owners. Suiton, Suidana, Water Release, Water Severing Wave, Shintenshin no Jutsu, Mind Switching Technique, 1. Personal Bloodline. Tenkyo Kogen, Heaven's Mirror Lake. Ai's name came from Lake Tenkyoko, or Heaven's Mirror Lake, Yagura's advanced jutsu Kekkai Genkai, which first thought to be the result from himself being the perfect Jinchuriki of Aizen, three-tailed turtle, but later revealed to be his bloodline. It is the fourth of the 5 greatest jutsu in the world, transcend the Sharingan and Byakugan. It is the equivalence of Mangekyo Sharingan and below that of the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and Rinnegan respectively, although the strength can be varied among the members as the inexperienced Rinnegan users may fall against the expert users of the Tenkyo Kogen. The currently known ability of this jutsu is to read others' mind, memory and the individual's resolves as well as awakening them. This ability is similar to Yamanaka clan's Shintenshin no Jutsu, mind switching technique, but with currently unrevealed key differences. With its activation, the pupil of the user's eyes will glow bright sapphire blue light colors with white colored wave-like stigma, like in Japanese's drawing, appeared in both pupil. The change in physical attributes of the person will not be visible, but if looked closely there will be a wave-like core leaking from the person's body. It will be very faint, so not many people can see it. Naruto seemed to acquire this jutsu for himself, though currently unknown circumstances. The awakening aspect of this jutsu is the ability to awaken the hidden resolves as such internal awareness in the other's body as well as him, her. It has the potential to grant other people and the users much greater power than even some of the harshest training regimen and the best empowering medicine by awakening the target's hidden potential to the highest limit. It leads to the higher state of consciousness and greater understanding of the world around them, reference to Hyper mode from Takeyoshi. Hitman Reborn. The master of this jutsu has the power that is equal to or even greater than the Sage mode. This power, although powerful, has several weaknesses. 1. The user must master the user of this jutsu, chakra control at the certain level as well as train their physical body to be fit. 2. Certain condition, namely calm mind and strong will, must be met, otherwise the users will not be able to access their true self, let alone others. Third, there is very high risk as the child or even adult could die from the awakening aspect of this technique due to immense stress being put on their brain as with their mind. So far, only Naruto seemed to survive the ritual as a child. It is to be noted that once the users failed the first awakening, their power could be increased by time, but he or she will never reach their fullest potential ever again in their lifetime. Basically, it is the one-time action. Reference to Zanpakuto from Bleach. Here you go, the first new Kekkai Genkai of Naruto. More will be revealed with time. 2. Shizukesa means tranquility, calm and serenity in Japanese. 3. Shiamitsu, Ash 1/2 register dash superscripto C Cedilla, Shiamitsu Tama, tide flowing jewel, clan, Yagura's clan. Only a few individuals can activate their legendary Kekkai Genkai Tenkyo Kogen. It was one of the founding clan of Garigakure, and being it's one of the many noble clan along with Yuki, Kaguya, before their betrayal, Hazuki, Terumi, and Hoshigaki. Several powerful Garigakure shinobi originated from this clan. This clan is well known for powerful water release manipulation in conjunction with their unique fighting styles with their staff. A powerful member from each generation is the prime candidate for becoming Sanbi Jinchurikis. 4. Kyoga Uzumaki Miyake. Basically he looked just like Byakuya from Bleach, just appearance though. His hair is red like with most Uzumaki. 5. Kadenshi Amitsu. Coincidentally like Yagura. 6. Sawada Uzumaki and other Akimagin Vongola Primo from Reborn with red hair. 7. Shira Inu Uzumaki and other Ak will make significant appearance in the later chapters. He is older than he looked. 8. Ten no Go Hashira, a 5 pillar of heaven in Japanese. I use Google Translation for this, so I apologize if it is wrong. At this group lead by 5 most powerful Uzumaki in the generation. All of them possess the Uzugen at the highest level. 1 person per 1 element. Go mean 5. The user will have their eyes pupil turn darker shade and the whirlpool like stigma appeared it with the same shade color. Each elements will be reflected on their eyes. Rangish red is fire, dark blue is water, golden brown is earth, whitish blue is lightning, and forest green is for wind. According to Sawada Uzumaki, Uzugen is one of the 5 great jutsu in the world, which composed of Sharingan, Byakugan, Uzugen, Tenkyo Kogen and Rinnegan respectively. It granted the users almost perfect mastery over certain elements, therefore 5 variation, enhanced Fuinjutsu, allowed the creation of various sub-elements with full mastery, usage of Senjutsu and chakra materialization, which is just a part of it. The history of the Uzumaki clan is taken from Hunternin, is the division that directly served the Mizukage, but they also served several high-ranking division within Garigakure, namely the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. Team Genkishi. There are 10 members led personally by Naruto. Each of them had white, blue chokudo, with wave theme stigma on the sheath. Normally, they wore standard Anbu Hunternin uniform, but in the official or highly classified mission they wore a customized uniform, Anbu captain uniform with white hori with wave-like stigma within the orb-like figure on the middle of the back. The wrist armor also spotted a hard point and knife holder. All of them are full A-rank shinobi. They are specialized in Suiton, Fudan and obviously Ken and Jinjutsu. Harem list Yujito Fukasumi, incest? Yeah, Kurotsuchi Karen Uzumaki Shizuka. Thank you for watching.